Welcome to Industrial Applications 2. This video is on creating header rungs for a connected component workbench project. In this project, you can see that there are a lot of smaller programs. Master program, production count equals something, set reset timer, etc. etc. There's a lot of smaller programs. It's a way of organizing the logic so that you don't have a master single huge program that's got hundreds of rungs of logic, which can be difficult to follow, trace, especially if you're working with small blocks of logical programming. So you want to make it as easy as possible for the person that comes in on a different shift, or comes from a different company, the machine's not working, or even the people that work at that location. If you've done some remote programming type thing, then they'll want to understand what your thinking was, what's going on. This is why documentation cannot be stressed enough. Having said that, we can create a user-friendly way to get to the gist of what this program does without having to go through every single rung and go, okay, what is this particular program supposed to be doing? So we can simplify that by creating what's called header rungs. Now, a header rung does not have any logic, but you need a place to write it. So what you do is, the first thing is you're going to create a new rung. So we're going to open up our menu and we're going to drag a new rung right on top of rung 1. Didn't bother to put it there, so we're just going to move that up. Okay, there we are. So it's a new rung 1. Now, it is considered to be very bad form to have a rung with no contacts or logic on it, simply because it gives the illusion of a dead short. And in fact, that's what it's doing. Now, on some different PLC processors and on some different software packages, they don't care that you put a blank rung in the project or the program. They don't care. It'll run. However, you will find that with other programs and PLCs, etc., you will create a major fault. It will not let you download it into the processor, or if it does, the processor will fault out immediately because it's perceived to be a dead short. So with Allen Bradley, they created a long time ago an instruction that fell out of favor and has come back. And it's under the, it's a bit program, but it's under program control. And it's called a no operation, or a NOP for short. Now all it does is nothing. It is a placeholder. It creates a rung. It is neither an input instruction or an output instruction. It can be used in place of either. The popularity of the NOP instruction is it's a fantastic way to put in placeholders where you know, for example, there's going to be an input or an output or a contact, but you don't have that information and you want to get the program, the core of it, written. So it gives a great place to place holders, to be a placeholder. In this case, for every program and every project, we're going to put on our very first rung a NOP instruction. You saw how easy it was, drag and drop from program control, boom, it's done. That way you have a space before the very first rung of logic to insert a brief description of what the intent of this particular program is doing. So this one is pretty straightforward. When we look at over what the idea is, when the production starts, we're going to start counting every time that the process variable goes up. You hit a production start, that's what's going to count, and then we're going to add to a box count because we're moving a series of numbers through the program based on the count of the actual product. We want to make sure how much goes to each box, etc. So it's a comparison of the current production count and the size of the box that's considered and whether we need to get more boxes. So we can basically summarize that by saying this program counts the number of product to fill boxes and can adjust the box count or set an alarm to indicate the need for more boxes. So that's just a quick summary. It's a header, and I'm going to make that a nice larger font so it jumps out at the reader. Apparently 15 is a little too big. Let's cut it down to, say, 14. There we are, and I can even put it in bold. Now, when you look at the standard is going to ask you to do a couple of things ahead of that. It's going to ask you to put your programmer name, all these years and I still can't type, and the project name. In this case it is Missteps short form is fine. Put a title on name, and then finally the program. Production count, and we can even because we've got these editorials, we can actually underline just to give it a visual reference. Not mandatory, but I like to make it so that it jumps out at the reader. We don't have a great deal of availability on this. Like in other documents, you can break it up somewhat, but you're going to run out of space, and you want to make it as quick and easy to see as possible. So that's creating a header rung for every program. It, again, especially if you get into really long, complicated programs with lots and lots of rungs, it's a really great way, because maybe your name of your a program is not quite clear, especially like TP underscore timer. What's that? I'm looking for a timer. Is that the one I'm after? They could open it up quickly, read it. Oh, okay, no, that's not what I'm after. Like, it really saves time. And when it comes to troubleshooting, every minute that a machine is not working is every minute they're not making money. So the faster you can give as many clues as possible, the quicker they're going to find and get everything up and running. When you're young, you think you're going to remember everything. I can tell you from experience, you'll come back to the same machine 6 months later. I remember doing this, and it will take you a bunch of time to go, what was I thinking here? What was I thinking? Because you'll be doing lots of, especially if you become go into more of the automation and production industrial side of things, you will find that you'll have all kinds of programs floating in your head. This is a simple, fantastic way to give yourself the heads up. You go back to it, you can read it, and you're good.